This is a video to help students prepare for HSC English Paper 1, Section 1. So we're going to have a look at some reading comprehension strategies to help you with this paper. Paper 1 has two sections, the reading comprehension as the first section and then the common module essay. The whole paper is an hour and a half plus 10 minutes of reading time. So you're going to allow 45 minutes for the reading comprehension section, and it's a 20-mark section. So that's approximately 2 minutes per mark with a 5-minute leeway to either spend on the longer questions or to sneak aside for the common module essay. So here are my tips. So read all questions first, then read all text in the reading time, making note of examples as you go. As soon as reading time's over, briefly annotate the text in the margin, maybe by highlighting, for instance, so that you've noted the techniques, and use the allocation of marks to guide your response. Don't spend too long on the first question either. Okay, so the first question will normally be worth 2 or 3 marks. So if you take the 3 marks as an example, you should spend 6 minutes on that, and you'll have 1 to 2 supporting QTAs. And as you can see there, I've suggested 4 marks, you should spend 8 minutes, 5 marks, 10 minutes, and 6 to 7 marks, 12 to 14 minutes or more if you need to. Okay, so paper 1, question 1 from 2019 HSC was based on this text, Boomerangs in a Thunderstorm. So pause the video so you can have a read of the text. Here was the question for question 1. It's explain how boomerangs in a thunderstorm represents an intense moment. As you can see, it's worth 3 marks, and that's going to be 1 to 2 supporting QTAs. And we're going to highlight the keywords of the question each time. So here we have the keywords are an intense moment. We must answer the question specifically using those words and explaining how the text does that in depth. Text 2 was a prose fiction extract. Here's the first slide. Here's the second slide. Pause between each so you can read them. And here's the third slide. So this was an extract from Australian author Thea Astley's A Kindness Cup, and the question that goes with it is worth 5 marks. And it says, analyse how the experiences of returning home has been shaped by the writer. So again, we're going to highlight the keywords. We've got returning home and shaped by the writer. So we need to be quite deliberate in what we say about the writer's use of language. And it's a 5-mark question, so you're going to use 2 to 3 QTAs. And as a guide, you're going to write a little bit more than is on this page. The screenshot excluded a few lines at the bottom, but you should only spend 10 minutes on this question and use the lines as your guide for how much you're going to write. If you do need extra paper, you can ask for extra paper. Make sure you just number it properly, the extra paper. Okay, so text 3 was a prose fiction extract from Lines, Planes and Bodies. So pause the video so that you can read it. And here we have question 3 is, how is metaphor used in lines, planes and bodies to represent human experience? And again, it's worth 3 marks. So we're going to be spending 6 minutes on this question, and we're going to be looking for 1 to 2 supporting QTAs. Now highlight the keywords in this question, metaphor and represent human experience. So you've been asked to identify the metaphor here. So you're going to obviously be specific about that, and then you're going to have to use those words to represent human experiences and explain how the text does that. Text 4 is a feature article called I'm bored, therefore I am. There's the first slide to pause and read. And here's the second slide to pause and read. So question 4 says, how does a feature article explore the paradox of boredom? It's worth 4 marks. So we're going to be looking for 2 QTAs, maybe 3 if you have time. And we're going to highlight the keywords. So it says here paradox of boredom. So you're going to have to be, it's quite a higher order question. You're going to have to be very clear about how you see boredom as paradoxically portrayed in this text. And of course, use the QTAs as your supporting evidence. Okay, lastly we come to question 5. So question 5 in this paper is worth 5 marks. Normally we've found that the last question is more like a 6 to 7 mark question, but you need to be prepared for all eventualities. This is going to be the mini essay question. So you can see there that if we're highlighting the keywords, it says to what extent. So you need to actually have a position to a large extent, for example, or to a moderate extent. And then you need to be able to discuss the significance of ordinary experiences using the feature article and one other text from either text 1, 2 or 3. So it says, to what extent is the significance of ordinary experiences explored in the feature article and one other text? And it's very clear that you should only use the feature article and one other text. So normally for 5 marks, we're going to say 3 to 4 QTAs. Try to use examples you have not already used already. If you do repeat examples, make sure your analysis is very different based on this question, significance of ordinary experiences. Now, you can't see this in the screenshot, but the two pages are allocated for this question, which does seem a little out of balance considering how many lines were allocated for the previous 5 marker. But this is the last question and it is considered a mini essay. So you're going to use an introduction and a conclusion to answer this question properly. And of course, in your main body, you're going to use QTAs as your supporting evidence. Okay, so that's the paper, how to prepare for this section. You want to revise language techniques, including visual techniques. This paper did not include a visual, but many papers do, so make sure you have a handful of visual techniques and other language techniques memorized that hopefully you'll be able to find. The other, of course, important aspect is practice. So past papers and practice papers freely available on your Canvas page, and make sure you do as many of them as possible, preferably under timed conditions, allowing the 45 minutes only and really sticking to those timed allocations based on how many marks a question is worth. And of course, your teachers will be more than happy to mark these for you, so make sure you send them to them and do as many as you can in preparation for the trial and the HSC exams. Good luck.